Welcome back to the channel, movie lovers. Today we're breaking down the 2023 sci-fi thriller No One Will Save You. This tense, nearly dialogue-free film follows a young woman forced to confront a terrifying alien presence while grappling with her own dark past. Get ready for an intense and eerie ride you won't forget. The movie opens in a peaceful lakeside house, where a solitary young woman named Brynn begins her day. She spends her morning immersed in hobbies, tending lovingly to a miniature model town and finishing a dress she's sewn for a customer. After carefully packaging it, she steps outside and attempts to revive a dead patch of grass in her yard, a quiet act that reflects both her loneliness and longing for renewal. On her way to town, she stops by a neighbor's house, hoping to catch the attention of a man she clearly has feelings for, but he ignores her completely. In town, Brynn discreetly drops her packages in a mailbox and visits her mother's grave. Her anxiety around people is painfully clear. She flees the cemetery at the sound of nearby voices and even avoids passing strangers by detouring around her own car. Back at home, Brynn writes a heartfelt letter to someone named Ma, speaking about her regret and wishing she could see her parents again. Through the letter, we learn that Ma was her childhood best friend, someone whose absence weighs heavily on her. When a package arrives containing a new piece for her miniature village, Brynn is visibly excited. She spends the rest of her day in quiet solitude, dancing alone, cooking, ignoring phone calls, and eating on the porch. After finishing her letter, she reads a book and drifts off to sleep. Later that night, however, her world is shaken when the house lights flicker on and off without cause. She wakes up to a noise outside and initially assumes it's a wild animal. But as she investigates, she finds her front door open and the lights refusing to turn on. A strange figure lingers in her living room, lanky, inhuman, and moving in jerky, unnatural ways. When the figure suddenly darts away, Brynn tiptoes back upstairs, removing her shoes to avoid making noise. But the creature spots her, forcing her to flee and hide in her bedroom. The alien follows her, stepping onto the bed and then gliding toward the window. Brynn hides beneath the bed, watching in terror as its toes move across the floor and it emits strange sounds. After it exits through the window, she rushes to close it, only to hear new sounds coming from downstairs. With only a curling iron as a weapon, she investigates. Footsteps echo above her, and her fear intensifies when the lights start flashing and her furniture begins moving on its own, controlled by an unseen force. As she attempts to make a phone call, a long, alien hand calmly returns the receiver to its cradle. The alien hears her breathing and slowly opens the refrigerator, where she hides. She slams it shut to escape, but the alien rips the front door from its hinges and strikes her with it. She crawls across the floor, retreating toward her miniature town, which the alien destroys. It begins dragging her toward it telekinetically. In desperation, she grabs a piece of the tiny village and drives it into the alien's head, killing it. It collapses onto her. In shock, she stays still until morning, then slowly examines her wounds and confirms the creature is dead. She covers its body and tries to call for help, but the phone is dead. The power, too, is gone, and her car refuses to start. Defeated but still determined, she cleans herself up, blocks the destroyed doorway with a couch, and sets off for town on her bike. On the way, she discovers a mail truck overturned in front of her crush's ruined home, its yard covered in the same burnt crop circles she'd seen earlier. When she arrives at the police station, she's confronted by Ma's parents. Ma's mother spits in her face before storming out in fury, and the father looks at her with cold disapproval. The officers show no interest in helping, so Brynn leaves without saying a word. Outside, her panic spirals. She struggles to unlock her bike and suffers a breakdown, collapsing beside a wall until she can steady herself. She then boards a bus out of town. As the vehicle moves through the neighborhood, she sees that every single yard bears the same ominous circular patterns. Suddenly, a man moves to sit directly behind her. She shifts uncomfortably, but when she tries to change seats, he grabs her. To her horror, she sees an alien entity writhing inside his throat. He's been taken over. Another woman on the bus, similarly infected, joins the chase as Brynn flees. The driver halts the bus, allowing her to escape into the street, still being pursued. She runs to a private property but stops when she hears distant screams. Eventually, she finds a church, but the doors are locked. Wandering around to the cemetery, she stops at a grave, Ma's. Her childhood best friend had died at just 12. Suddenly, ominous clouds gather above her. Brynn takes off running. Returning to her neighborhood, she sees more possessed townsfolk, including her former crush, all staring skyward with arms raised toward the swirling sky. They notice her, but don't move or speak. Shaken, she rushes back to her home and notices the alien corpse now leaking fluid that flows toward a flower bed outside. As she investigates, she realizes the clouds have returned and the aliens are coming. She prepares her home, lighting candles, lanterns, and stovetop burners. She blocks the entrance with a blanket and nails, but they're ripped off telekinetically as a white light floods through the entryway, lifting the dead alien's body into the sky. Brynn runs to the basement just as a smaller alien appears at the door. She tries to escape through the cellar hatch, but it's blasted open by the light. She hides beneath a table with scissors, but the alien discovers her and takes her weapon. Strangely, it doesn't attack, it seems curious, even interested in a photo of Brynn and Ma. She bolts upstairs, only to be ambushed again by the smaller alien. They struggle, and she scalds it with boiling water before running. A bright light pins her down again. A pan she holds is magnetized to the wall, and the alien walks into the beam and becomes eerily still. Taking her chance, Brynn hides in a room, but the creature resumes its attack, breaking down the door. She attempts to escape through the window, but it grabs her. She fights back with a broken mop handle, stabbing the alien's shoulder. Outside, she finds herself face to face with a towering alien with long limbs. Just then, the possessed delivery man reappears and grabs her by the hair, dragging her toward the giant being. Overhead, a UFO descends, and the tall alien begins gesturing toward it. The delivery man stops and looks up, allowing Brynn to break free and shove him. The UFO beams down a white light, lifting the man momentarily before dropping him. The ship departs, and the tall alien appears confused. The man reanimates, and Brynn takes off again, with the alien in pursuit. It even climbs over her roof but slips and falls, only to rise and chase again. It becomes stuck in her car, and Brynn ignites leaking gas, causing a massive explosion. Just when she thinks it's over, the white light reappears, and she rushes inside to hide. She retreats to her bedroom, but the smaller alien finds her. It scans the room and seems to watch one of her old memories involving Ma. Brynn sneaks behind it, but it repels her effortlessly, sending her crashing through the wall. As she tries to crawl away, a red beam floods the room and suspends her in the air. She's thrown violently toward the ceiling, then caught again mid-air and slammed repeatedly. A new alien floats toward her, emitting a strange sound before convulsing. From its mouth, a small, tentacled creature emerges and floats toward Brynn. Her jaw opens involuntarily, and the parasite slides inside. Suddenly, she jolts awake in her room, screaming. Everything looks untouched. Confused and shaken, she walks downstairs and hears a noise. She follows it down a hallway and finds a blurry apparition whispering her name, Ma. As it clears, she sees the face of an older Ma and breaks down. Brynn begs for forgiveness and then instinctively reaches into her throat, pulling the tentacled creature out. In the real world, she stumbles outside, holding the small alien in her hand. It slips free and darts into the grass. As she searches for it, a UFO appears above and emits a yellow beam. A human form begins to materialize within the light. The small alien enters the body's mouth, seemingly bringing it to life. Brynn, terrified, bolts into the woods. There, she faces something even worse, a perfect replica of herself. Frozen in shock, she doesn't react in time. The doppelganger stabs her in the side. As she collapses, her clone embraces her, continuing to stab. With a final surge of strength, Brynn wrests the blade away and fatally wounds her double. She watches it die in her arms. Eventually, Brynn emerges from the forest only to be met by another towering alien. A white light beams down and lifts her into the sky. She awakens inside the dark interior of an alien ship, where several humanoid beings approach. One of them reaches out and gently touches her forehead, sending her into a vivid memory, crafting with her mother as a young girl. She steps outside into another vision, police officers standing in front of her childhood home. Everything is frozen in time. Overwhelmed, Brynn stumbles and collapses onto the grass, trapped between memory and reality as the aliens continue their strange evaluation of her mind and soul. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, where the next story is always one shot away.